What is going on, everybody? Welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to modify your high beams as well as your fog lights on your Toyota 4Runner. Now, quick disclosure, these modifications are 100% reversible, so you can go back to factory settings, if you will, very easily. And you can do this for 2003 all the way to 2024 Toyota 4Runners. So what are we going to be doing? Well, a little bit of information on the 4Runner and Toyotas in general. The fog lights on Toyota vehicles are only able to be turned on when you have your headlights on. So unless your headlights are on, you're not turning on your fog lights, which is kind of annoying. In addition to that, when you have your high beams on, specifically in my case, my 4Runner, when I turn on my high beams, my fog lights turn off. I don't know if that's a safety feature or why it's done like that. However, it's very annoying because if I'm turning on my high beams, I want to see everything. And high beams are very good at throwing light really far down the road, but your fog lights, they kind of flood the area right around your vehicle, and they make it so that you can see everything around your vehicle. So when you're hitting your high beams, you're losing that functionality near you, and you're gaining the far distance light output. Well, that is kind of annoying. Like I said, if I'm hitting my high beams, I want to be able to see everything. So a company named Aspire Accessories has developed a workaround so that when you are driving your vehicle, you can have your fog lights on at any time. If you want to have just your daytime running lights on with your fog lights, or if you want to have your headlights completely off and rock your fog lights with your amber lights, whatever, you now have that functionality. And in addition to that, they've also made it so that when you put your high beams on, you can have your fog lights on at the same time. That way you're getting the area around your vehicle flooded and you're getting the far throwing lights from your high beams. So this is the item we're going to be unboxing, installing, and reviewing today. This is the Aspire Accessories Brite box. I got the Anytime switch panel version. As far as compatibility goes, I told you earlier in the video that this product would work for 2003 all the way to 2024 Toyota 4Runners. That is correct. However, there are different harnesses because over the years, Toyota has changed the wiring on the 4Runner. So if you have a 2003 all the way to 2013 4Runner, you're gonna have a separate product, which is listed on Aspire Accessories website by year. The next year grouping is from 2014 to 2020, and then the final grouping is from 2021 to 2024. So based on your year 4Runner is going to determine which one of these you purchase on their website. The good thing is the price is all the same for all of them. They're $124.99, and if you use my code 5Gen4R, not only for this item but anything on Aspire Accessories website, you will save 5%. Once you have determined the year 4Runner that you have and the harness that corresponds with the year, you have to make a determination. Are you gonna buy the Brightbox Fogster, or are you gonna buy the Brightbox Anytime? So if you purchase the Brightbox Fogster, that is a 100% plug and play. There's no additional buttons in your vehicle. There's no extra wiring. You just plug this into your existing fog light wiring. And the only thing that allows you to do is when you put your high beams on, your fog lights are allowed to stay on. Like I said, that is it. There's no controlling them at any other time. It just gives you that high beam and fog light dual functionality. Or you can purchase the Brightbox Anytime, which is what I have today. What that allows me to do is still turn on my fog lights when my high beams are on and keep them on, but this gives me an extra layer of functionality in the sense that I can turn my fog lights on whenever I want. If my headlights are off, I can have my fog lights on. If my daytime running lights are on, I can keep my fog lights on. If all my lights are off and I want to keep just my fog lights on, I can also do that. So I recommend buying the Anytime because you have that extra layer of functionality that comes with this mod. Now, you can purchase either one, but if you get the Anytime, you have a few options, as is evident on this side right here. So you can get the universal switch, which is just a universal button that will essentially be in your cabin that you can turn your fog lights on and off from. or you can get an OEM style switch that will look like the rest of the buttons in your 4Runner, or you can do what I did and purchase a switch panel. So I have an aux beam 8-gang switch panel, and I'm going to wire it up directly to my switch panel. That way, whenever I get in my car, I can turn them on or off directly from the switch panel. There's no extra buttons in my vehicle. They're all on the switch panel. Anyways, now that I've explained what this is and what this does, let's do a quick unboxing. And I say quick because it's really simple. And then we'll get out to my 4Runner, throw this in, and I'll show you guys the added functionality and benefits of putting this in your car. This is the Brite box Anytime with the aux beam wiring. Now, when you open the box, there are going to be a lot more of these little things. I only left 2 in the box to show you that this is how it comes packaged, but I removed the rest so that it is not a mess. So this is obviously the wiring harness, and then this is the installation instruction with an alcohol wipe and then some zip ties and screws, and I'll show you what that is all for here in a little bit. But that is all that's in the box. So we're going to put the box aside, and I'm going to show you the Brite box. So this again is the Anytime 11P, and because I have the switch panel, this is all the wiring that I need. So if you look at this, these are direct plug and play for your fog lights. Now you're going to pick one fog light and then connect to it. You're probably going to pick the driver side because that is probably easiest to get to as far as wiring goes. And if you have a switch panel like myself, it's probably going to be co-located on the driver's side, as many switch panels are mounted near the battery. So you're going to unplug your fog light from the wiring harness that is on the vehicle. You're going to plug this into the wiring harness, plug this into your fog light. I can't remember if it's this way or the other way, but regardless, you're going to plug this into your fog light and harness. And then if you have a switch panel, you're going to put the red in the red spot on your switch panel, and then the ground in the ground spot on your switch panel. And that is it. The last thing that remains is to secure this with double-sided sticky tape, and then either the screws that are provided or zip ties. But that is it. And that will give you access or more functionality when it comes to your fog lights. So let's take this out to my car and I'll show you guys how to get this installed. Before I get to installing this, I'm going to do a few things that are considered optional, but I'm going to show you them in case you want to follow suit. So if you have a switch panel like myself, you're going to hook the red and the black up to the corresponding slots on the switch panel. Now, I don't like just putting the wire straight in there and then screwing down on it because I don't feel like it's a very solid connection. So a while back, I purchased this tool right here. It's a Ferrule crimping toolkit. And obviously this is a tool. And then these are the different diameter plastic pieces. And essentially what you do is you strip the wire, you then twist it so it's nice and, the wire is nice and firm. And then you're gonna find the corresponding diameter that you're gonna need to go over the wire. I think I'm gonna need probably the blue, and you're gonna slide it over here. And then once you slide it over, you're going to crimp down on it right here with the ferrule tool, and it will create a nice little pattern here, and this will be what you then screw into when it's on your switch panel. You obviously cut the ends off, but this gives it something to grip on, and you don't have to worry about the connection ever coming loose. So that is what I'm going to do. This is the Ferrule crimping tool. If you want to purchase one of these, I will link it in the description. But if you look closely, when you pull the trigger, those 6 triangles come down, and they essentially compress these silver pieces of metal around the wire, and they make it so that it will not come loose. So this is a ferrule crimping tool, and I'll put it in my description. One more thing that you can do to make everything look nice and clean and make sure that the connection is not going to come apart is you can buy some heat shrink. I got this on Amazon. It's got all sorts of diameters, but I took this red one right here, cut it into thirds. So I had 3 pieces. This is my leftover. I then put it over the connection that I crimped with the Ferrule tool, and then I heated it up. That way, if this ever does, for some reason, become loose, this will hold it in place so I won't lose the connection. This is what they look like. Keep in mind, if you do go this route, leave some space so that you can identify the red from the black, or else you're gonna have no idea what you're plugging into, and you can cause issues on your electrical if you put it in the wrong spot. So now that that's done, the last thing I'm gonna show you that is optional is installing electrical grease. Now this is made from Ford Motor Company. It is an electrical grease that lubricates, protects, and seals your electric connections. So before I go ahead and plug in my fog lights to their respective connections, I'm going to put some of this on the connector pieces. That way water, moisture, all sorts of stuff that doesn't belong will not get in there. And this will also help the electrical connections make sure that nothing is impeding the functionality of them. So if you want to get this, I will also link this in my description. It's like 20 bucks on Amazon. So I recommend getting this not only for the Brite box, but any electrical connection that you do on your vehicle, you should have this, especially if you live in the north like I do in Michigan, where salt and other road contaminants are prevalent in the winter. Regardless of which Brite box you have, this step will be the same. First, you're going to go to your driver's side of your vehicle, and you're going to loosen these 3 screws. Now, I have a 10mm socket that is attached to my Milwaukee ratchet, and I've already loosened them as is evident. That way you don't have to hear me loosening them on video. Highly recommend you guys get one of these if you work on cars. These have saved me so many times, and they're honestly just convenient for time purposes goes. So once you loosen these screws up, you're going to simply remove them and put them to the side. Now keep in mind, this is the second one that I just removed. You can see how the top of it is not pointed. The top one does have a point to it, and it is also different because it doesn't have these little clips. It just screws right into there. So make sure the sharp one, or the one with the tip that is slightly taller, goes in the top portion of your bumper. Optional, but if you want more room, there's a bolt up here, also 10mm. Just unscrew it. This folds down, and then you can pull this further back. Now, to remove these 2 pieces, I have this tool right here, just a little pry bar. I stuck it between this right here and pushed that way. And eventually the bumper that is in here will come loose, and you can push this to the side. Now, I'm not going to take anything else apart because all I'm trying to gain access to, see if I can get it on camera. So it might be a little difficult to see, but there is the fog light harness right here. So you really don't have to take anything else off. The wires are right, they're hands width away. And you're just gonna unplug that connection. Mine came off very easily because it has that grease in there. So I wasn't fighting it for 20 minutes trying to get this unplugged. So that is another reason why you should probably use that grease. So while I have not determined where I'm going to mount this, I just set it on my fuse box for now. Now running the wire, if you route it this way, probably around your fuse box down the side, if you look closely, there is a little plastic flap / shield right here that is behind your headlight. If you just drop it down in that hole behind the plastic flap that's right there, and then you go to your fender and look, again, it's gonna be hard to show you, but if you look in there, the wire is right there, which is also right next to my fog light wire. So now I just got to connect those 2 fittings. There's the other part of it. I just got to plug them in, and then I will show you what to do next for the aux beam. with those two connections made to the fog lights down in the wheel well, we can now come back up into the engine bay. Now, grab the instructions, and it says here, run the red or the positive power wire to a 15 or 20 amp fuse on your Switch Pro. Again, I have an aux beam, so it's going to be an aux beam, but you're going to run the red or the positive to a 15 or 20 amp fuse, and then the black or the negative ground wire to your aux beam. So I'm going to put this to the side. I have already loosened this, that way I'm not fighting it. I've determined that I'm going to put it in spot number 4 on my 8 gang, and I have a 20 amp fuse. I chose a 20 just because I have more of those than I do 15. So I'm going to put the 20 amp in. You should be doing this with your battery disconnected or the fuse, disabled. I'm not going to mess with it. I've never had an issue with it, and I'm not dealing with it right now, to be honest. But you're going to take these 2 wires, you're going to route them up through here, or respective of whatever position you're putting it on, and then we're going to get them secured. So I'm going to put my phone down, route it, and then I'll show you guys what it looks like. If you look closely, this is the positive, this is the negative, and then this is that 20 amp fuse that we put in place. So if you look at the switch panel, fuse box, the red is with the red, the negative is with the negative. Everything's tightened down. So now we're just going to take the fuse box cover, put it back in place. I've actually determined where I'm going to put the Brite box. So if you look right here, this is all a void. There's nothing back there. So I'm going to clean it up a little bit with a wipe, and then I'm going to put it back there and probably zip tie it to this bracket right here. That way it won't rattle, but that way it stays out of the way, and it's got enough slack for the fuse box, and it's got enough slack for the fog light down below, and it's not in my engine bay exposed to elements, and it's not in the way of anything. All right, one quick modification to my original setup. So I did clean off that area. All I did was I used the double-sided sticky tape. It's not moving. You have enough slack here for the aux beam fuse panel. The modification that I did from what I originally showed you is, instead of the wire coming here and then going in that plastic piece, I actually routed it all the way down the frame, and then I put it in, there's a gap right there. If you put it in that gap, it still drops down right by the fog light. So that just removes one wire from coming down here, being in the way behind your headlight. It just goes down the frame and then drops straight down into this void. So that's all plugged in. Everything's hooked up. Now we can see if it works, and we'll check out the functionality. So I've got everything hooked up. I put those 3 screws in the fender again. Now I'm going to show you guys the functionality of the Brite box. So I'm going to start by turning on all my daytime running lights. So if you look at my fog lights now, that is just daytime running light. That is not the actual fog lights. So now that the startup sequence on my Morimoto headlights has turned off, I'm going to show you guys when I put my actual headlights on, and then I turn the little switch on my light stalk. The fog lights come on as normal. So this is without any modifications. The light stalk works as far as turning the fog lights on or off if I have my headlights on. Now, I'm going to turn the headlights off. Obviously, when you turn the headlights off, that stalk no longer works. You cannot control your fog lights if the headlights are off. I'm going to turn off my daytime running lights for my fog lights, and now I'm going to hit the fog light button on my switch panel. And now you can see my headlights are off, but I do have the fog lights at full brightness working. So again, one of the functionalities of the Brite box is it gives you the ability to turn your fog lights on while your headlights are still off. And then the other thing that it allows you to do, headlights back on, fog lights on. Now I'm going to hit the high beams. See how they went off? That is because I don't have it activated on my switch. So now I'm going to activate my switch. See how they remain? So again, with the switch off, the fog lights go out with the high beams. With the switch on, they stay on. So really think this was an easy ad. So there you have it, guys. That was the install of the Brite box by Aspire Accessories. Again, this accessory allows you to take control of your fog lights on your 4Runner, whether it is a 2003 all the way up to a 2024 model. Any of those years, you can now gain full authority of your fog lights, especially when you are using your high beams, you're able to keep them on. So pretty awesome modification. And the awesome thing is, if you want to sell your car one day, or if you decide to go back to stock, you haven't cut into any wires, the harness remains unaffected. You just remove this and plug everything back in as normal. So pretty harmless as far as modding your car goes. You can go right back to factory if you decide. Lastly, I know I mentioned it before, if you want to pick one of these up for your 4Runner or for other vehicles, check Aspire Accessories website and use the code 5Gen4R. That will save you 5% off site-wide, not just on the Brite box. Again, guys, as always, if you found this video useful, please like, share, subscribe, and comment. Your guys' interactions with my videos really help me create content for you guys because it drives my engagement up and it allows me to collaborate with companies. So thank you again, and I will see you guys on the next one.